everyone to Through Thick and Fit podcast, where this is the environment where lifting each other up is just as important as lifting weights, and where every step towards improvement is worth celebrating. I'm Florence, and today we're tackling a topic that kind of got me my eyes rolling a little bit. Is Pilates, sorry, is it just another trendy fad? As a bodybuilder, I'm a little bit skeptical about, the latest trends. And I had the opportunity of meeting a Pilates instructor, Kaley, which I have to do as I guess. And today, this episode, hi, Kaley.
Hi.
Yeah, so today we're gonna talk about like whether you're experienced person in fitness, whether you're just beginner, you're curious. We're gonna tackle all the myths and why is it useful. And by the end of this interview, this podcast, you may find yourself grabbing a mat instead of a barbell. Let's dive in. Welcome, Kaylee.
Hello.
So, can you tell us a little bit about like your journey and how did you become a Pilates instructor and what's all about this new discipline, or is it even you?
Yeah, well, it's not new, but it's definitely more popular in recent years, I would say. But basically, I've always been very fit. I used to play sports. After that ended, I consistently was going to the gym. And I just kind of wanted a change. Once I started working full time, I didn't have the time anymore to go to the gym for 2 hours every day. I was finding, my body was sore just from the movements I had to do at work. So I actually started with yoga and then I started going to that consistently about once a week. And then when I saw there was a new Pilates studio in my city, I was like, oh, what's this? I went with one of my friends and I really enjoyed it. I went to a reformer class, and then I tried some mat classes, and then I just started going consistently. And then one day I saw that they posted that they were looking for instructors and that they didn't need experience. So I reached out to them and yeah, did the whole process with them. They wanted me on the team. So I did training with them, training online. And then, yeah, I started teaching once a week.
And how long you been doing that, Kaylee?
I have been doing that for about a year now. Yeah, also
Okay.
here.
So you said about you always been like into fitness and just is just something new that you're doing. So how as adding or now being a Pilates instructor, how has that impacted your personal life and your fitness journey?
Yeah, so it's made it a lot busier and it's definitely shifted my goals a little bit. So I wanted to bring something new, at least to the studio where I work at in my city. So I created a class where it's Pilates, but also mixed with strength. So we actually do use like 5 pound dumbbells in the class. So it's changed the way I work out. I still go to the gym, but I used to, like I said, I used to go like 5 to 7 days a week, spend a lot of time there. And now I just find that I have more balance in my life. I'm still able to, work out. But what I really like about Pilates is that it's fast, it's effective. Most of the workouts I do in 45 minutes. And whether I go to the studio or whether I do it from home, um, it's taken a lot of the stress off because I used to be very, if I didn't hit the gym that day, I was really defeated with myself. But now I've
Mhm.
realized, you don't have to necessarily go to the gym to stay active.
I love that the growth mindset that you've developed, and you mentioned a lot of things. You mentioned um, doing Pilates at home, reformer, and I think like the big one that everybody's like hearing about is like the reformer. Even at the gym that I'm at, they install some machine. They like complete a relevant it's the studio. So, what are the different types of Pilates? Like, what's the reformer one? What's yeah.
Yeah, so at least at my studio, the 2 types that we have is reformer and mat Pilates. So I have taken lots of reformer classes. I haven't actually taught reformer, but basically reformer is on a machine. So it's all used with springs. So basically there's different springs that you put on and off and it's based on your weight and there's leg straps and it's there basically a lot of movements that you can do on the mat at home you can do on this machine as well, and then there's a couple variations. So That machine was created by Joseph Pilates back in the day. More classical, he used it for people with for rehabilitation and people with injuries, and now people are bringing it into studios, doing more contemporary classes where they add in ankle weights or a Pilates ball, many things that you can add in. There's also another machine kind of that's popular these days, which we kind of talked about before, that's Legree. But
Mhm.
that's not actually Pilates. It's its own method. So I did get trained in that as well, but it's more strength and cardio on a machine. The machine is very similar to a reformer, but a little bit different.
Mhm.
It also uses springs though.
Okay, interesting. So, for somebody who's new, like I saw that, and how would you say it's different than yoga? Because to me, I was like, is Pilates somewhere like yoga? Like, how would you describe it for somebody who has like no clue about Pilates and don't know what is about, who is it for?
Yeah, I think both are good, but there's some similarities and there's some differences. So Pilates is low impact and it's more of a workout. It's for improving your flexibility, mobility, posture. Those are all similar to yoga, but it also is about targeting certain muscles and especially working on your core muscles. Breathing is a big concept in Pilates, which is similar to yoga, but I would say in
Okay.
yoga, it's more about holding poses or flowing through poses, where Pilates is more, I would say, intense.
Okay, so you would say Pilates, if you're looking for to be more challenged,
Mhm.
you would say that Pilates as a little bit more challenging than yoga.
Yes, I would say so.
So I'm thinking in terms of my brain as, somebody who like is into bodybuilding, would it be like building muscle or more like on my rest day that I would do it or complementary or
Yeah.
mobility?
I would say complement it to what you're already doing. I personally love strength training and bodybuilding, so I don't like I'm going to be honest, I don't think that you're going to build all these muscles as you would in the gym. But it's not good for your body to go to the gym 7 days a week and be constantly putting stress on your muscles. So I think Pilates is
Mhm.
great to add into your existing routine like once or twice a week on the days where you had a big leg day the day before, you're sore. I would do it following that. Like I said, the class that I have, I do more like toning. We use small weights in my class.
Okay.
But using big heavy weights isn't really in the Pilates principles. So I would do that on a different day.
Okay, it's not about the principle. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I see a lot of comments on social media saying like Pilates compared to the gym doesn't make you look bulky. That type of like more slimmer look. What's your thought about that?
Well, I would say there a part of that could be true because most of Pilates's body weights are small weights. Ankle
Mhm.
weights, you're using props, but you're not necessarily using heavy weights. So it all depends what you're looking for. In Pilates, since you're not using, 10, 15, 20 pound weights, you can't really achieve that bulky look because you're not necessarily like growing your muscles. You're more toning them and again, it's about improving mobility, posture, core. So it's not mostly about, increasing your muscle mass where the gym is.
Is it lengthening your muscle as they claim? Some people claim. Does it lengthen your muscles?
You're doing lots of lengthening, movements and stuff, but I wouldn't necessarily say, just because you're doing Pilates that you're going to achieve this thin, you know, aesthetic that you're looking for. I think it's great in combination with cardio, strength training.
Nutrition.
Yeah, nutrition, but Pilates alone isn't gonna achieve that.
Okay, so why is there a sudden big explosion of interest in Pilates? Like, what has gotten to that point? Is it the Hollywood? What's the history behind now all of this fascination and interest in Pilates?
Yeah, I think things are different body styles are always trending. I feel like a couple years ago, having that thicker body was kind of more of a trend, and I feel like right now that thinner body is more of a trend, so I think people think if they do Pilates that they're going to achieve that. But I also just think that it's becoming a trend because, you know, influencers are talking about it, celebrities are talking about it, so that makes other people wanna do it, and I think people are realizing, at least for me, the reason why I started getting into it is because it's a community. It's a lot of, you can make friends when you go to these classes. Whereas when you go to the gym, at least for me, I'm kind of doing my own thing. I'm on my own. So that's one thing I like is the community around it for sure. And yeah, just having a fast, effective workout.
Okay, I love the fact that you mentioned two things that I want to bookmark and come back about trends, about body. I think sometimes it's sad that we let social media influence us the body trends and stuff. Do you think that it has had a negative impact in terms of affected the body image for women?
hmm I don't think Pilates itself has had a negative impact, but I just think, of course, when people see this trend happening, they might think, oh, if they're not super skinny, this might not be a good workout for them, or they might not fit in here. So I think that part can be negative, but I think Pilates is for all body types. I'm not the thinnest person either. And at the beginning, it felt very foreign to me because I was used to just lifting weights. But I think with any new movement that you're doing, with practice makes perfect.
And I guess it's probably the best question now to jump into is like, who is it for and who is it not for Pilates?
Mhm. Well, I personally think it's for everyone. I know a lot of guys think that it's only for girls. I don't I don't think that's true. I think athletes can benefit from it. I think anyone can benefit from, improved core, improved mobility, working those smaller muscles that you don't necessarily work on a everyday basis. It's also great for older people who, they can get injuries more easily. So doing these movements will help prevent that. I think young people can do it, middle-aged people, everyone I think can do it.
Okay, so you're actually saying that it's sort of like more safer, right? So it prevents injury, right?
I would say, for especially for an older person who, maybe they've never touched a weight before or they're new
Mm.
to working out. I would say, of course, it depends on the class that you're taking and how advanced it is. I would start with, the simple classes, but it is safe, I would say, as long as you have a good instructor that's, cueing. There's a different modifications that you can take depending on your fitness level. So you never have to do something, that you're not comfortable with doing.
Okay, that's good to know. There's adaptations that are provided. So you talk about finding a good instructor or good class. So now they're popping out everywhere. Like, how do you know which Pilates studio or instructor is good? Like, how do you know if you to find a good one? Like, what
Yeah.
should you be looking for?
That's a great question. Well, I do think it also depends on you and what kind of workout you like because I've been to many classes. I've been to more classical classes, where they just play like classical music. I like personally having like my hip hop music in the class. So that matters. I think, some classes they have weights like I said that I do or balls or, different props. I think you do have to find what you enjoy and in terms of having a good instructor, as long as they're, cueing your movements, giving you modifications, not making you feel judged, those are the key parts to a good instructor.
And if you go to a studio, like when should you like, run? Like,
Which
okay, maybe that person, yeah, like, yeah.
I think if you're ever not feeling comfortable, I mean, I know some people they go to new studio and they don't know anything about it and the instructor doesn't really go over things with them, doesn't explain, the new machine. Anytime someone is taking, a new reformer class or a Legree class, the instructor should be going over what each spring, how to use it, what to do, what is this strap, what is that. If they're not explaining any of that to you or not helping you if they see you struggling throughout the class, then I would run.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's good to know. I might just consider trying it out, like especially for I would say as a bodybuilder, we always injure. We're like sometimes we train when we're in prep, which is a preparation, and you're depleted, and you're usually prone to more injuries, and sometimes because you have a goal, so you're trying to like lift heavy, but you're putting yourself in a situation like I like the fact that you mentioned that it could help us. Get stronger with our accessory muscle. Is there any other benefits of Pilates that we haven't discussed yet?
Um, I would say also just relaxation, mindfulness. Like a lot of the classes that I go to or I teach, we practice, at the beginning and end of each class, breathing, just having that moment to relax, unwind. We usually have dim lights. So I feel like once you leave, you really do feel more relaxed and calmer. And, it's good for mental health as well.
So you were saying that Pilates emphasize a lot about the mind and body connection, right? And you mentioned also breathing. How is so? What type of breathing do you guys practice?
A big thing is exhaling when you're doing something difficult. Like, for example, if you're doing a glute bridge, when you're going down, you inhale. As you go up and you bring your hips up and you squeeze the glutes, you're going to exhale. That helps you through hard movements using that deep breath, mind muscle connection. Um, basically, throughout the entire class, the instructors are usually cueing throughout, like, okay, on this part of the movement, inhale, on this part of the movement, exhale. And at the beginning and end, again, taking those big, deep breaths. Cause I think a lot of people, in everyday life, they don't realize how important your breath actually is. And they don't take time to really think about what they're doing. A lot of people have, short, shallow breathing, which if you're not getting the right amount of air in your body, a lot of parts of your body can't move and function the way they're supposed to.
I love that. So what I'm hearing is that it allows you to be connected with your body by like, being in the moment, right? And try to feel your body. I like that. I didn't think about that mindfulness that Pilates had. Yeah, that's something new that I've learned. So thank you for sharing that. So is there a misconception that people have about Pilates that you would like to address?
Yeah, I think a big misconception, well, one that people think is that, oh, it's not hard or it's not a workout. I would say if that's, how you feel about it, have you actually done a Pilates class? Because most people that have done it after, they're like, that is way harder than I've expected. Especially when it comes to guys. I've had many girls, that bring their boyfriends to the class and they're like, after they did my class for the first time, they're like, wow, that was a good workout. I wasn't expecting that. I think it kind of gets grouped in a little bit with yoga, like, oh, it's just like stretching and body movement. You can't do much with body movement, but body movement exercises are actually very hard because you have to rely on your body to hold yourself up. That takes a lot of
Mhm.
strength. um, the other thing, like I already touched on, is that, oh, it's just for girls. I don't think that that's true. I think, many guys, specifically athletes, who want to improve their core, their mobility, posture, it's great for them as well.
Okay, I love that. I'm definitely going to try a class, and I would definitely would share with the listeners how it was because yes, I have to admit that I am guilty. I was like, it's just like a little easy class, won't do much for me, but I'm looking forward to be challenged
Mhm.
by that. So, is there any mistakes that people have beginners in Pilates do when they start? And what they should do to avoid them.
Yeah, I would say one mistake is I kind of touched on it, the short, shallow breathing or forgetting to breathe throughout the movements. Um,
Okay.
Another thing would be doing the movements very fast. So Pilates is more slow and controlled, and like we kind of touched on being mindful. So
Mhm.
especially people who go to the gym, I notice when they, go on a reformer machine or go into a mat class, they're very fast with their movements and they're not fully feeling them.
Ah, okay. And you talked about math and the reformer. What's the difference between those, and is there one that's harder or easier?
Yeah, I think that depends on the person you ask, but personally, I find the mat classes to be harder than a reformer. So if you're gonna try Pilates, I would definitely like don't just try one or the other and write it off because they are quite different. So I would try
Okay.
both and see which one you like. I find reformer classes, you're on a machine, you don't have to move around as much. It's a different kind of hard. It's a hard where you feel it in those little muscles that like pain, but you're not really getting a sweat or anything like that. Whereas a mat class, I find I have more of like a sweat after. I'm fully relying on my body. So when you're on a reformer,
Mhm.
people can kind of cheat in a way by using those springs to help them. Um, so yeah, there's definitely a big difference. I find mat harder, but some people find reformer harder. I think some people are intimidated by the reformer machines, so that's why they might find them harder. But once you get the hang of it, it's actually, not too bad.
Yeah, I think okay, yeah, thank you for sharing. Yes, because when I see the Michelle, I was like, I don't know, right? But the math definitely seems less intimidating. And I think they have those like for free because like when you go to a big gym, they have like free classes and stuff included. And instead of like going right away and spending money
Mhm.
on
And I
on the classes.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of mat classes because you can do it anywhere, You do a couple classes at your studio. Like me, I have the ankle weights, I have that Pilates ball all at home. So if I don't feel like going out that day, I can do it all from my house.
Well, really? Okay.
Yeah,
And how often do you have to do Pilates to reap the benefit?
that's a great question. I would say if you it depends on the kind of like bodies, body you want to achieve or mobility you want to achieve. I personally like doing Pilates like 2 to 3 times a week. If you went 5 times a week, that would be amazing. But again, it's what you're looking for. I like to do it in combination with working out. So I would say as long as you're doing some form of movement, at least 3 to 4 times a week, you can reap the benefits. But working out doesn't change bad nutrition. So if you're not eating well, then you might not reap the
Right.
benefits.
Okay, so it's in addition to what you're really like doing in terms of working out, but you also said like a physique achievement you can achieve with Pilates. What is that actually? What is the physique that you will notice different? That's different from doing gym stuff.
Yeah, like I would say if you're going for more that toned look, that, you know, thinner look, you can achieve that, but you do also have to do cardio, eat well. Whereas if you're going to the gym, I have noticed a difference. Like I used to go
Oh,
to
you
the
did?
gym, yeah, in my upper body. At the beginning, I wasn't afraid. I was like, I'm gonna lift these heavy weights, but after a while, I was like, "Okay, I don't know if I like that on me." So then I started
Hmm.
going to doing more Pilates, doing, like, more exercise, especially my upper body with just, lower weights, and I found that it has changed a little bit to more of that
But
tone,
yeah,
I could say.
but I think that could be achieved as well at the gym
It
as well.
could,
Like
yeah.
just yeah, training less and not training as intensely. But
Mhm.
in terms of the physical, if you want more like okay, I see what they're saying. Like basically look less bulky, a little bit more. Okay. I can understand. I can understand
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But
It
okay,
it
so
depends what you're looking for, totally.
I see. So it could be appealing to strength, but strength still remaining feminine. And I think that's what I want people to get out of it. Like no matter what you do, even as a woman, like just because you're using strength and working out, it doesn't mean that you will lose your femininity, right? Um, Pilates doesn't mean that I look more feminine. No, it's just another form of way to do training, right?
Yeah, totally.
So would you say, like, are you the school of thought that Pilates is better than than the gym?
I wouldn't say it's better. I would say like, again, I love both. So I'm not going to be the person to say that Pilates is better, but I do enjoy it, and I have, I do feel it gives me something to look forward to going to a class. I think with working out, I think working out is amazing, but it can get kind of repetitive and maybe boring for people. Maybe they lose motivation because you have to really rely on yourself the entire time to figure, unless of course you have a trainer, to rely on what
Program.
movements, yeah, and what movements you want to do. Oh, okay, I can go to the gym at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. rolls around. I don't feel like going. Whereas Pilates, when you're going to classes, you signed up for the class, you already paid for it. So if you don't go, you're losing money. So there's a motivation like that I like. It's made me be, more consistent. Like I said, it's made me have more overall wellness, in my daily life, not carving out 2 hours to go work out. Now I'm doing it in
I
45
see.
minutes. Yeah. So I wouldn't say it's better, but I do think it's great.
Okay, good. And you said about like transformation and how it does for your life, but can you, since you're an instructor, can you share a transformation story of one of your clients and how Pilates has added benefits to their life?
Mhm. Yeah, I think especially with older clients, those are kind of rewarding stories where, you know, they have problems with their hips. They can't really walk, the best. They can't put, weight on their hip as much. And after going to Pilates, they've noticed huge improvement in mobility, function in those areas where they can actually do the exercises fully, where at the beginning they couldn't. And they feel really happy and great about that. And in their everyday life, they're feeling, less pain and being able to do whatever they want with, movements where before they were more restricted.
Yeah, that's awesome to know that they actually improve the quality of life
Mhm.
in terms of mobility with Pilates. So to close, Kaylee, is there if there was one thing about Pilates that you want our listeners to leave with, what would it be?
It would be just to try it, give it a try, and also to know that there is different forms of Pilates. I think when people think about Pilates and maybe what doesn't interest them is the more, classical Pilates where it's very repetitive movements, only body weight movements, not that upbeat, playlist. Those things, like, that's not how all Pilates classes are. So it really does matter where you go and what instructor that you have that will make you either enjoy it or not enjoy it. But give it a try. And after the first class, if it's not your thing, maybe try it 2 or 3 more times. And I'm sure you'll like it after that.
So where can we connect with you if we want to like go to your Pilates class?
Yeah, so the Pilates studio that I work out of is called The Commons. It's in Saskatoon. It's downtown. I teach on Sundays once a week. I have a mat class where it's Pilates with strength, they call it, but it's only with 5-pound dumbbells that we use in the class.
Okay, wonderful. So next time, well, if I'm in town, I will definitely go check it out. Thank you so much for doing this call with us, this interview. I definitely learned a lot. And now you just mystify what Pilates is. And you know what, guys? Like everyone, listeners, we should go in 2025. I want everyone to try at least a Pilates class. That's right, Kaylee. So thank you so much. Have a great day. And thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, you too.